Has there been a crazier few football days in South Louisiana in recent memory than what we've gone through this past weekend? Many Tigers fans get their wish with Lane Kiffin coming to LSU, while Green Wave fans are happy and sad with their coach announcing he's leaving for Florida, but staying through the end of the season, whenever that might be. The Saints play a tale of two halves as they were a no-show in the first half before dominating the second half and falling just short on a pick two and a silly ending. How do we cram all that into 90 or 100 minutes? I don't know, but it's time to find out on the Dattitude podcast, which starts right now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is.
You at Dattitude family, can you believe that 1 month from today, it will be the year 2026? What a crazy, insane ride this year has been so far. And it's just like, it seems like every month there's more. And think about where we were last year at this time. Where we were last year at this time compared to now. What were we talking about? We're talking about LSU with another disappointing finish. We're talking about the Saints in the middle of the whole Derek Carr saga was a year ago. Spencer Rattler was the next great thing. Remember that? I mean, just think a year ago at this time. That's how crazy. What is this last month? If this weekend is any indication, I know it's going to be hard to top this weekend, but what does this last month have in store for us? Well, it begins with Dattitude, episode number 445, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, December the 1st, 2025. If you're new here, we thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Jim Derry, 35 years on the New Orleans sports media scene. Thank you so much for being a part of the Dat family. Whether you're here for episode number 1, episode number 445, or somewhere in between, you have seen somewhere in between that many episodes. What is most special about us? You know what it is. You know what it is. You talk to us, we talk back to you, especially on Mano E Monday, which is today. You type in your comment, we're going to show it. We're going to show it here, and we're going to talk back to you, unless you're just completely silly. You can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr., email jim@jimderry.com. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. All right, what is on today's show? Well, come on, man. You've been living under a rock. You know what is on today's show. I got to take a sip here. We're going to talk about, of course, we're going to spend, I don't know about most, a lot, probably most, a majority of. Is most too strong? I mean, what is the definition of most? We're going to spend a lot of today's show talking about Lane Kiffin. My dime is probably longer than usual. It's the first time that I can remember, at least in recent memory, that my dime is not on the Saints. My dime is on Lane Kiffin. I'm going to try not to say what I've said already for those who have been back here, and try to combine it all. But I have a dime that, and for those of you wondering, what is the dime? What is he talking about? It's every week I do a commentary on what I saw usually over the weekend. It's normally on the Saints, whatever happened in the Saints game the day before. But today is not. The Saints are certainly secondary. A 2-10 Saints team is absolutely secondary to what has happened over the weekend. In fact, honestly, it's third. Jon Sumrall going to Tulane. Going to Florida, leaving Tulane and going to Florida is, quite frankly, obviously a bigger story than the Saints as well. The good news for Tulane fans, again, as I said in the open, is Jon Sumrall will be staying with Tulane. Is he going to stay? You know, I don't know that they really clarified this or not. What happens if Tulane loses and then they just go to some bowl game? Is he going to stay through that? Gabe, have you seen that? He is staying through that? Or he says he is. I don't know. I find that hard to believe that he would stay through meaningless bowl game, especially when he might have an opt-out or two. Anyway, maybe that'll be cleared up over the next day or two. I have not seen that. So if someone else has seen it, you can tell me. But we'll talk about that. Lane Kiffin did not. I mean, it's not a surprise. There are people out there, people I consider to be normal, rational human beings that were out there actually arguing that Lane Kiffin should be able to stay at Ole Miss. Are you insane? If you think Lane Kiffin should stay at Ole Miss, you're insane. Think about the normal. It's not the same. It's not the same as the normal professional world. My ass. It's not the same as why is Jon Sumrall get to stay? Completely different story. Because Tulane doesn't want him to leave, and they're super grateful for everything he's done. Ole Miss is like, sorry, there's no other way to put this, but might be the second time I've ever said this word. Don't care. Sorry, but fuck off. That's what Ole Miss is saying. And they have every single right to say that. If I were an Ole Miss fan, I'd be absolutely furious. So while LSU fans are celebrating and just loving the Lane train coming, I tweeted this out the other day, and I know some fans are not liking my take, and it's going to cause me to lose some viewers. And the day after I put the short out there about what I thought about Lane Kiffin a few days ago, I lost subscribers. But the thing is, on this show, I'm always going to tell you the way that I think it is. I don't care if I lose subscribers. I don't want to lose subscribers, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you something that I don't think. And while I know most of the people out there in the world who cover LSU on a regular basis, at least the ones who share their opinions, are gleeful. Matt Moscona's been on the show multiple times. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. I respect Matt Moscona immensely, but he's smoking a cigar on his pod last night. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the fact that he's smoking a cigar and drinking whiskey on the pod. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But are we really we're all that fired? I'm going to tell you why. And if you don't want to hear this, I'm telling you, that's what a lot of this show is going to be today. Now, Gabe Henderson's going to come on later in the show, and he's going to tell you why it's the greatest thing since sliced bread or something along those lines. I want the opposing thought. This show is about, we share our thoughts, and that's what Monday is. If 90% of you are super thrilled and fired up that Lane Kiffin is coming to LSU, I want you to say so. I want you to tell me why you're super fired up. I had people ticked off at me, and not just the people who unsubscribed to me, but telling me how silly. Then I had other people taking shots at me. I know they were taking shots at me without actually saying they were taking shots at me on their own. And I don't care. I get it. I get why. I understand why you're fired up. But anyway, that's what the dime is coming up. We're going to start with the comments in just a little bit. So it's going to be an interesting show, man. I am looking forward to hearing the thoughts from you. Now, a lot of my regulars I know actually feel the way that I do, and that's the reason why they come back. But I don't want you to leave because you don't agree with me. If you don't agree with me, yeah. That's what I want all the LSU fans who are fired up and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it wasn't just Matt. I just bring up Matt because I watch Matt more than I watch anybody else. I immensely respect Matt Moscona. And I know I really do. He's been on top of this thing and was pretty right from day one. Way back when. He was ahead of everybody. And even though LSU sources weren't necessarily, he did a great job of going finding other sources, I think. So anyway, I say that with all due respect to Matt Moscona. I immensely respect him, but I was watching Blake Ruffino the other day. He's all fired up. He's the greatest thing. All these super chats telling him how, people too often want to just listen to people that they completely agree with. I guess I get it. I certainly watch people that I don't necessarily agree with for multiple reasons. I want to hear what the other side's about. I want to hear why it's not all sunshine and roses. I want to hear why things aren't necessarily as good or as bad as you might think. On the Saints end of the thing, as we, again, we're going to spend the last probably 20 minutes of the show talking about the Saints. On the Saints end of things, I had people just bitching and moaning and crying about how Chris Olave stinks. He's terrible. Chris Olave is this terrible receiver. He dropped that pass, the touchdown. The Saints are 2-10, man. Do you realize what Chris Olave has done with two no-name quarterbacks? Two guys that probably wouldn't be on most other teams' rosters right now. They would be on some, I guess. But think about what Chris Olave has done this year. He's 7th in the league in receptions, 15th in yards. Yet everybody wants, why? Because Chris Olave ties you to the past. it was such a weird weekend. The Saints gave me hope. I had multiple people asking me after my short from yesterday. My instant reaction was that what I saw yesterday actually gave me hope that things are going to start to improve. I've already told you, I think the Saints hit rock bottom after that Rams game. I think that Rams game was rock bottom. I mean, now don't get me wrong. Not everything has been a step up. There have been maybe two steps up, one step back. But what I've seen from the Saints is hopeful. I'm hopeful. What I saw yesterday was hopeful. They stunk in the first half. They were awful in the first half. But yet they found a way to, it's usually the other way around, right? They come out and they play okay and then they just piss it away or whatever. No, this Saints team could have folded their tent at halftime. They had, I don't know, it's like 65 yards at halftime. Shough was horrendous. The entire offense was horrendous. The offensive line's been horrendous. We know that. I mean, that's not giving you any news to say the offensive line stinks. But yet, they came out in the second half, down 16-0, and clawed their way back and had a legitimate chance to win the football game. They made some mistakes, sure. They're learning. These are the kind of games, and I heard someone say this yesterday. I think it might have been Doug Mouton. I heard someone say this. I watched so much stuff last night. I tried to cram everything into a few hours, and that includes watching the crazy Sunday night football game, which was a fantastic game, by the way. But, you watch last night, the Saints game yesterday, and again, we're going to move on to Lane Kiffin in just a minute because that's where I'm going with all this stuff. But you watch the Saints and what they were able to do, and this is my gut feeling. I tell you, I go by gut feeling on a lot of things, including Lane Kiffin. I think what I saw yesterday from the Saints is just an indication that these are the kinds of games that I think they're going to win as soon as next year. Now, do I think they're going to go 9-8 next year and have a chance to win the division? I doubt it. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. I don't know what their over-under win total is going to be next year. My guess is going to probably be in the range of 6 or 7. But what I saw in the second half of yesterday gives me hope. I'm now 90 to 95% certain that barring injury or complete collapse, that Shough is going to be the starting quarterback in game 1 of 2026 next fall, whenever that may be. That the Saints are not going to draft a quarterback. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not 100% sure yet, but there are definitely signs I see from Shough and things that he does, and he consistently has done since he took the job, that lead me to believe that he can be at least the immediate future at quarterback for this team. Long term, I don't know. We're going to get to all that. But again, got a dime coming up, and I guess I shouldn't waste the whole. Oh Lord, we got a lot of comments. I'm just looking now. All right, I'm going to get to as many as I can before I get to the dime. Okay, and I apologize if I only show one of yours. It's nothing against you or whatever, and I don't show all of them like I usually do. We got a ton today, and I know we're going to have a ton. I thank the regulars for all being here. Christopher Crump was first this morning. Who died Monday? I'm not really sure what that means. Gabe, you know what that means? Me neither. Anyway, great to be here. You're talking about the Saints playing better than they have been? Absolutely, they are playing better. Apathy says, anyone wants to know why Kiffin left Ole Miss within an hour of landing in Baton Rouge? He is the top-rated high school defensive player in his office who is signing with LSU on Wednesday. He could have done that at Ole Miss. What does that have to do with LSU? So, I mean, good for him. I'm glad he's doing it. He's the LSU coach now. I certainly hope he wouldn't be out there signing somebody for Ole Miss. But that's what he's supposed to do. Brian Kelly started recruiting the second he became the LSU coach too. Whoop-de-doo. One Smoke. Good morning. Please, not too much Lane hate. Let us enjoy this. Go Tigers. I'm not giving you Lane hate. I'm giving you Lane reality. And I'm telling you, I'm warning you now. It's my Lane reality is coming. I'm going to show yours too. I am happy that you're happy. Like, seriously. I'm not just saying that. In fact, I'm going to change my slide because that's pretty much where we're going now. I'm happy that you're happy. I am happy that, look, my son came over yesterday after the Saints game and brought the family, and we had dinner together and we talked about it, and he's thrilled. He thinks it's the greatest thing ever. And I know a lot of other LSU fans think it's the greatest thing ever too. Gabe's super excited. He's going to talk about it later. I get it. I know why you're happy. I don't necessarily think that I'm unhappy as much as I'm being super cautious about a guy I don't trust. I think that's the way to put it. Again, I'm going to tell you what I think in my dime. But I'm not going to give you sunshine and roses. It's not what I do. I don't want to lose people. I want 50,000 people to watch the show at one time. But I'm not going to tell 50,000 people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell them what I think. A-Town, good morning. This is going to be epic. Must see. Can't miss episode of the Dattitude podcast. Also, Derry's Dime needs a theme song like QB. We'll work on that. We've been working on themes for the dumbass of the week, though. So I guess that's not there yet. UBN vetoes any other theme song. A10 also wants to know how long I give the lane train at LSU before it's derailment. I don't know. We'll see. That's part of that's in my dime. One Smoke wants to know what I could tell the Florida fans. They hate Sumrall. I don't think that's not what I've seen. I think what Florida fans are worried about with Sumrall is he's similar to Billy Napier and in his experience, and that he's coming from a smaller program. Tulane's way bigger than Ooh La La. Okay. So way different scenario. Tulane and Jon Sumrall is not the only reason why they're in this position. Willie Fritz helped build this up too. But Jon Sumrall has helped make Tulane. I think they're in a position now to where, I mean, unless the next coach comes in and screws it up, I think they're in a position to where they can be the non-power 4 or power 5, whatever the hell you want to call it, in a spot where they could make the playoffs almost every year. They're going to be in contention almost every year, at least in the near future. That's my opinion. Gabe says, breaking news. Lane Kiffin got in his hot yoga this morning at Yoga Lottie's studio in Baton Rouge. That's where we're at now. We're just going to start reporting every damn thing this dude does. He took a piss in Popeyes this morning. Woo, baby. Follow him around. Take pictures. Good Lord, people. Y'all going cuckoo. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Bill says, I don't know why the Saints offensive line can't block or run or pass. Block for the run or the pass. You know why, Bill? I'm going to give you a little tip. I've got some inside information. Because they suck. The offensive line is horrendous. It's coming up later. Don't you steal my sunshine. Ryan Cabot says, good morning, Who-Dats. Mixed on Kiffin. Will he do a great job here? I don't know. Speaking of, Kellen Moore, Brian, you got to read these things before you send them in. Because you know I'm Ron Burgundy. If you put it in there, I'm going to read it. You think basically that Kellen Moore is not the guy, Lastly Olave, game-winning drop. Get out of here, dude. I'm so sick of, I'm serious. We're going to get to that. It's mind-boggling. The dude is 7th in the NFL in receptions and 15th in the NFL in yards gained receiving. And everybody wants to bash him. You know why? I figured it out. He's one of the guys that's tied to the last regime, to the Dennis Allens and the Derek Carrs. That's why they hate him. At some point next year, somebody's going to hate someone that it's tied to Brian Kelly for LSU. I don't know who it is. Whoever it is, they'll find. Get out of here. He didn't drop. I mean, should he have caught it? Sure. Nobody wants to talk about the 77 catches that he does have, or whatever the hell it is. 80, something along those. I forget the number. Nobody wants to talk about the great catches. Oh, Justin Jefferson drops passes. I hate to tell y'all this. Treylon Burks last night made one of the greatest catches in NFL history. Did y'all see it? But he's bounced around because he's just not that good in the grand scheme of things. He didn't bounce around because he makes those catches all the time. Chris Olave is absolutely 100% a number one wide receiver. He is. And if you don't think so, you're just a hater or you're a moron. One of the two. You figure out which. That's on you. Kyle Sherman, good morning. What a weekend. Over under on today's show. 2.5 hours under. I 100% will tell you it's going to be under. If you're betting it, if there's a line on this in Vegas, absolutely bet the under. It's not going 2.5. I think it's going to be under 2 because I'm going to force it to be under 2. I'm actually going on 2 other shows today, so I have some other things going on, and I still got to go do post production. So yeah, it will definitely be under 2.5. It will be under 2 most likely. Chad Gage, good morning. You feel optimistic about the Saints' future if some adjustments are made in play calling? Telling you, there's a reason to be optimistic. Ron Hendrickson, LSU fans enjoy the heady feeling of winning the Kiffin lottery today. For as soon as something more appealing comes along, he's out the door. He can't be still. I did see one thing that was interesting about Lane Kiffin as well, though. Some fan who kind of nailed it as well. But there's lots of different takes. There's lots of things that can be true, by the way, at one time. And one of the things I saw that was true is there was an LSU fan out there who loves that Kiffin is coming here. And he also thinks that Kiffin's probably not here for that long, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, till something better comes along. But he said it's going to be one hell of a ride going forward, right? I mean, that is true. That is certainly the positive. Cecil Evans, good morning. Congrats on keeping the Dattitude train on the tracks. Shaw, brah. Thank you, my friend. Darryl Romero, good morning. Always the very best show. You do an outstanding job, the best in my opinion. Well, thank you so much. Good morning, Owen. Good morning, Randall. Let's see what else we got. Earl's Picks. Good morning. What up? We even start. I can't take any of these fans seriously that are still screaming Rattlers better than Shough. He's shown some good stuff. It only is 4th start. I feel good about it. I'm not going to bash on the Rat. There's no reason to, but I don't think any realistic, not any realistic, but most of the Rat lovers now are just silent, right? They're just not saying anything. Then you have the outlandish ones, but they don't watch this show. They watch the Fanboy podcast. And even the Fanboy podcasts are no one's realistically saying that Rattler's better than Shough. We don't need to say that. Today's not a day to really talk. I mean, why would we talk about Rattler today? But I get where you're coming from. Brian also says, Brian S. Steve says, good morning. I hope the Lane experience goes well. I do think he's getting unwarranted treatment for, quote, abandoning his team, but that is college football and the timing of the portal. That's true. Cedric Bolo, good morning. Who dat? Go Saints. What's going on with the Pelicans? Please move Zion. Cedric, I didn't even make a Pelican slide today. We got too much to talk about that's important, and the Pelicans aren't important right now. I promise we will have Pelicans talk in the future, but there's just too much important stuff to talk about right now. Earl's Picks, yes, Sumrall is going to finish Tulane's season, supposedly. Mark Gapsky, good morning. Coach O to Tulane? Yeah, I don't think so. Jason wants to know, did I bet against Saban? I didn't bet at all. I don't bet on that kind of stuff. I'm a degenerate, but I'm not that big of a degenerate. William says, with no Kamara, Shaheed, Cooks, and Apache Alford, well, you need to change your username to I love me some Shough. I get where you're coming from. Tyler still almost pulled out the game, but I will say that he absolutely almost pulled out the game. He does show promise, but boy, was he bad in the first half. I thought he was really good in the second half, but he was really bad in the first half. Mal, I was with you all the way on Kiffin. Maybe he'll finally capitalize on his lifelong championship head coach potential. Maybe. Chad says Kiffin will be fired in 3 to 4 years. I don't think he's going to get fired. I do think he's a good coach. I don't think he's better. I don't think he's the end all be all. And I'm going to tell you why again in the dime, but I think he's a good coach. He's certainly a very good offensive coach. Maybe the best in college football right now. Is that enough? Along with Baker staying, by the way, we never even mentioned that. Is that along with Blake Baker staying as defensive coordinator? By the way, breaking news, if you didn't see that this morning, Blake Baker is staying at LSU as defensive coordinator. Is that enough with this great offensive genius mind and Blake Baker, is that enough to turn LSU back into what LSU was just a few years ago? Maybe. I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to get fired from LSU. I think he's going to do to LSU what he did to Ole Miss when, again, I told you, when someone else comes a calling. Got to get to the dime. We are almost a half an hour in the show, and I don't want to make Kyle Sherman right with the over 2.5. Brian says he wrong thinks Sumrall has a better, clearer path to the playoffs almost every year with Tulane than with Florida. Absolutely he does, but that doesn't mean you don't go to Florida. You 100% go to Florida. Charles Mangus is here. Good morning. LSU got it. 12 million. How long? I think it's more than 12 million. How long will he stay? I don't know. Trying to move on and catch up here. Tedders, haven't seen you in a while. Cool with Lane. Hope he can fix some of the bad in-game decision making. That he probably will do. Hopefully he can bring a great offense to LSU. Keeping Baker, which is wise. Got to keep the recruiters too. Who else is going to come with us? Charlie Weiss Jr. going to come with him? Not as of now, but the rumor is he will. John Brick Pace. Howdy, Jim. Hey, Dattitude family. Good to see y'all. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Mark Satanovich. LSU fans need a loudmouth hound dog who chases underage. Oh, man. Come on. Dude. Really? See, this is why I got to read them before I just put them up there. No. If you're trying to get banned from this show, that's a good way to do it. King CJ Ferrand. I love how Vele finally got the ball. Shough was clutch in the fourth quarter. Oh, we're going to talk about Vele later on. I'm not showing any more dumb comments hating on Olave. Y'all are just wrong. You can have your opinions. I just don't need to show them. I'm not, because you're absolutely 100. If you don't like Chris Olave, you're wrong. Period. Kyle says that Shough showed that he could be a starter with good talent around him and better play calling. Absolutely. Let's see. Phil Mariande. Kiffin is a huge mistake by LSU. What has he won? Jon Sumrall will be his nemesis. We're going to find out. Dylan Smith. Good morning, Dattitude family. I didn't want Lane, but I'm going to embrace it. That's the way to look at it, I think. You have to. What else are you going to do? Lane offense paired with Blake's defense excites me if they can put it all together. Either way, let's go. Dale Allman. Bobby Hebert in the post game. You want to be the number one receiver, you got to make that catch at the end of the game. Okay. He's the number one receiver. They're 2-10, dude. Give me a break. Again, he's clear. Nobody wants to talk about the good catches. I don't want to call him. I should have caught him. Blah, blah. You're just a hater. Haters. Sean, will Tulane go after Coach O? Will we join Kiffin at LSU? I don't know, man. Coach O's been at multiple Tulane games this year. I'm just going to say. I don't know the answer to that. All right. I got to get to the dime. Quo says, I'm loving the Lane train at LSU. It feels good to be hopeful again. I know there are no sure things, but having swagger back, they're definitely going to have swagger. There's no question swagger is there. David Herman says, I think Florida got the gem in Sumrall. Maybe so. What else we got really? Oh, boy. Dumbass of the week on a Monday. We have done it. We don't usually have dumbass of the week. Fred McCree, 256. Derry is an LSU hater. Tulane blow boy. You might be the dumbass of the month, and it's only December. Can we have should we do dumbass of the month, Gabe, on December the 1st? It's too early to do dumbass of the month. This is the most moronic comment we've had, and man, it's been a while. So we had one this stupid. I mean, I don't know what kind of crap you put in your oatmeal, but stop it. Just put some milk and some sugar. Don't put crack in there. Crack is bad for you. You're a moron. I'm an LSU hater. Yeah, I went to LSU. I hate LSU. I'm a Tulane. That's the first time ever I've been called a Tulane anything that's positive. Ever. Where do these people come from? What planet do they live on? I want to go there for just like, I don't know. I want to go to Planet Dumbass for like a day or two. It would be fun. I mean, I think it would be fun to live in some alternate reality. Jesus Christ. Lewis, what's up? I always bet against the public. Amen. My biggest bet yesterday. In fact, I only made 2 bets yesterday. One got pissed on from the Falcons because I had a Falcons-Bucks money line parlay bet. Stupid ass Falcons. I mean, I'm gonna have Gabe give me the number so I can call the number if I bet anything on the Falcons again. But that was my small bet. My big bet, in fact, it was one of my biggest bets of the year. It was the lock of the year. The lock, and this would have absolutely been my number one bet had we done pick'ems. My lock of the year. Oh, he says it's 1-800-GAMBLER. I'm going to have to call the number. My lock of the year yesterday. The 49ers -5 over the Shedeur Sanders-led Cleveland Browns. That was like free money. They should not have allowed. They should have made that number like 10 so people would stay away from it. No, because then everyone would have bet on the Browns. They would have made serious money if they would have made it like 10. Just saying. Chase says Baker's defense and Lane's offense with the right players. You think LSU will be tough. All right. That leads me into, by the way, breaking news. Gabe Henderson says breaking news. UCLA is hiring James Madison coach Bob Chesney. That is significant because James Madison is also a major contender for the playoffs. Playoffs. That's right. Playoffs. I don't know if it's everybody's saying it's a fait accompli that Tulane's going to the playoff if they win this week. Gabe says it is. I keep seeing these percentages of 30%. And it's not just because, I mean, they're better than 30% to win this week. Something's weird there. We'll get to Tulane in a little bit. Shane Bergeron, what's up? You need to stay out of the pissing contest with Ole Miss fans. We'll see how it pans out. Changes had to be made. I just want success for our Tigers. All right, that leads me into Derry's Dime. All right. If you're new here, every week I have my commentary. I try to do my best Jim Henderson and Jeff Duncan impersonation, but we all know that I'm not there. I'm still working on it. I got 10 years to retirement, I guess. So we'll see how I can do. Anyway, this is my thoughts. Again, it's called Derry's Dime, and it's the only part of the show that is scripted. All week, actually, it's the only part that's really scripted. Anyway, you know what I mean. Here it is. All right. Like today's title suggests, it's no coincidence in the world of football karma that today's press conference introducing Lane Kiffin to the world as the 34th coach in LSU history comes on December 1st, which is when many people begin to take Christmas seriously. That being said, in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and many parts around and in between, the entire month, well, we are officially renaming it Kiffmas. Now that the big, bad, uncharismatic Brian Kelly is gone and is being replaced by the offensive mastermind and super fun Lane Kiffin, all is right in purple and gold land. The man hasn't even been introduced yet, but he could do no wrong. He should be put on the Mount Rushmore of LSU coaches, bumping Charlie Mack and sliding over Paul Dietzel and Les Miles to sit Kiffin right next to Nick Saban. To some, this cat already is the next Nick Saban, despite the fact that his winning percentage in college is closer to Mike Archer's than it is to Les Miles's. It's also lesser than that of Brian Kelly, Coach O, Les Miles, Bill Arnsparger, Charlie Mack, Bernie Moore, and a few others in their time at LSU. Gabe loves to point out that it's not fair to give Lane Kiffin grief for not winning a national championship because there are only 3 of those coaches still active. How about runners-up? Well, there's only 7 of those who are active. He has coached for 14 seasons, and his only 2 conference titles are in Conference USA with conference title game victories over North Texas and Alabama Birmingham. Impressive. But what bothers me most is how he got here, not who he is, not what he's done, at least not who he is as a coach. Sure, coaches leave their jobs for greener pastures all the time. And Lane Kiffin, let me make this clear. Lane Kiffin has every right to do what he's doing right now. It's how he's done it so far that I think what bothers me most. Look, most coaches are narcissists, at least most of the successful ones. But people I respect are reporting that he tried to hold Ole Miss hostage on the way out because they rightfully told him to hit the road when he begged to continue coaching until the Rebel season was over and was promptly told, I don't think so. He allegedly threatened to take all his coaches and many players with him, which he's trying to do anyway. They said no. Ole Miss said no, that is. Then he reportedly gave his assistants an ultimatum. Come with me now or come with me never. After the Egg Bowl, he referred to his players whom he loves so much as they and them. I've already spent a commentary warning you that this dude has loyalty to no one. He's leaving a team he built to win a national championship, and within weeks of them having a real shot to do so, he's leaving. For what? A better opportunity? How is there a better opportunity out there than the one he had like 3 days ago before he told Ole Miss to piss off? What else could he want? Money? He could have got money at Ole Miss. More eyes on him in Baton Rouge than in Oxford, Mississippi? Maybe that's it for their narcissists. The proof is there for everyone to see. If someone he perceives to be better comes calling, he'll be gone faster than you can call him to ask him if the rumors are true. Again, that's his right to do so. But don't fool yourself into thinking he'll be any different at LSU than the Ole Miss fans hate with every fiber of their being right now. There's at least a 50-50 shot you Tigers fans with hearts in your eyes and grandiose dreams of yesteryear in your minds will feel in 3 to 6 years the exact same abhorrence as your friends from Oxford. Yeah, you know, the ones who have a legitimate shot at winning an Natty right now. And they're thinking more about the groom who left them standing at the altar than the number one moment on all of their collective bucket list that is within their grasp. I know tons of Ole Miss fans. They thought this day would never come, and it's here. But yet, most of them are thinking about how much they hate Lane Kiffin. It comes down to this. Yes, Lane Kiffin is sexier than Brian Kelly. He's Coach O without the need for Joe Brady. He's Les Miles without the blades of grass and before being embarrassed by Nick Saban in the national championship game, in championship game number 2, that is. He's Nick Saban before, no. Even the Kiffin-iest of Kiffin lovers don't have visions of Saban plebs dancing in their heads. I'll move on. I will do my best to be half as hopeful for the future as most of you are right now. I'll say this one last thing before I get off of this train. I hope all of you screaming at me on your phones and iPads and TVs are right. I hope Kiffin leads LSU back to the place they've been many times without him, but somewhere he's never been. That's right. He's going to a place that LSU has been many times without him, but he's never been there. He could have gone there, but he chose to leave that place. Even if it's me who ends up being right, I'm not going to say I told you so. Rather, I want you to think back to this day, not to tell me I was right, but just to not immediately fall in love with the latest dreamboat in college football when it comes time to do this again in the near future. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll issue an apology on Dattitude episode number 1550, my final show before retirement, and predict the Tigers to beat Ohio State in the 2035 national championship game for their 4th title in 10 years under Lane Kiffin. I guess the only thing for certain is it's going to be a wild ride. So let's buckle up. And that's my dime. Going to be a wild ride. One way or the other. I'm just, I want to be wrong about Lane Kiffin. One thing that I think I'm very good at is judging character of a person. I know a lot of people don't care about character of their head coach. I get that. But character of a football coach to me, more times than not every time, there are plenty of D-bag coaches who are super successful in the world, in the land of the NFL and in the land of college football. But I know he supposedly changed. What has transpired over the course of the last couple of weeks and just how he's handled this whole situation. And again, I don't know what rumors are true. I don't know how much of the reporting of what happened, how he left Ole Miss and why it took so long. I don't know if all that's true or not. I don't know if he gave Ole Miss ultimatums, but in the end, Ole Miss held their ground and told him he wasn't coaching anymore. And if you're leaving, you're leaving. And, I don't know. It's how it happened, I guess, is the thing. How else is it supposed to happen, Derry? I don't know. But the intuition, gut feeling of everything. I get you're happy. I'm not trying to piss on your parade. I'm telling you what I think. That's why most of you watch the show, to hear what I think. Many of you don't agree with me. I get it. It's okay that you don't agree with me. Brian Causey, my friend and former classmate. That means he's old. Lane Kiffin has all the resources in the world and money to win at LSU. One championship won't be enough. Kiffin needs to win multiple, says Brian from Frisco, Texas. Isn't that the home of the North Texas Mean Green? I believe that it is. Let's see. Oh, Mott Dog, one of the newest members of the Dad family. Welcome. Go Tigers. Infantryman says, I like Lane coming here. Here's a great offensive mind. I would have really liked Eric Morris as well. Okay. Oh, North Texas and Denton. Right. Sorry. Thank you, Gabe. Let's see what else we got here. Lance is here. Good morning. Who dat, baby? Montauk says he's still better than Curly. He is definitely better than Curly Allman. There's no question Lane Kiffin is definitely better than Curly Allman and Jerry DiNardo and whatever else. Sean says Lane took advice from Coach O and Nick Saban. Look, I want to make this clear again, okay? I'm not blaming Lane Kiffin for what he did, okay? Everyone has the right to better them. If they think they're bettering themselves, I just don't get why you think. I mean, he had a chance to go to not had a chance, it was right there in front of him, to do something he's never done before. Go to the college football playoffs. I think with Lane Kiffin in charge of Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss has a legitimate chance. I'm not saying they would have. I think Ole Miss was almost just close to as good as everybody else in there. Would they beat the Georgias of the world, the Ohio States of the world? I don't know. But I think to give yourself a chance, and then you know what? You go through this, and maybe you say next year. I mean, jobs are going to be open all the time. How many people think Kalen DeBoer is going to be long for Alabama? I don't. I mean, it's already been rumors that he was going to get whacked after this year. I mean, he's not going to, but the rumors are there, which means that if Alabama isn't back to Alabama status next year, all those rumors are going to be back again next year. I don't know, man. I don't get why. No, look, I get why people think that LSU is that much better. It's so much better a job. I'm an LSU person. The numbnut dumbass of the week earlier who said I'm an LSU hater. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I bled purple and gold coming out of the womb. Okay. Part of my family, my grandfather went to Tulane, but my entire mom's side of the family, almost all of them went to LSU. I went to LSU. I was in the LSU band. I was in the Golden Band from Tigerland. Oh, yeah, I hate LSU. I just don't. Just something about this just stinks. Just stinks. Trish Reinhardt's here. She is there with me. It bothers me how he got here. He's coming to LSU because he has pro aspirations. That's okay. As a football coach, your dream is to be a head coach in the NFL. Every move he has made is trying to take him to this goal. I don't blame him, but I don't like the long contract either. That's another thing. When Brian Kelly, now no one cares about the money. All the Lane Kiffin fans, they don't care about the money now, but a month ago, they can't believe we got to play Brian Kelly $59 million. Don't ever do another contract like that again. Give me a break. One Smoke wants to know when the press conference is, and as Gabe posted in the chat, it is at 3:30 p.m. 3:30 p.m. this afternoon. He will be introduced And we will probably cut pieces of that out and talk about it on Wednesday's show. I don't know who my guest is as of right now for Wednesday. We'll see. There's a couple people I'm going to work on, but I don't want to say it out there because I don't know. Yeah, Gabe, I know you didn't care about that Brian Kelly buyout. Most people did, though. I'm verklempt. See, just talk about Brian Kelly, I start coughing. That's how excited I am. Tony Battaglia, what's going on, my friend? You still playing poker? I haven't seen you in a while. When did you start picking LSU over Ohio State? 2007 Sugar Bowl is asking, messing with me. Don't let the impulsive geniuses spoil my day. Well, see, I'll be older and crotchety by then. I probably won't remember that I picked Ohio State to beat LSU 18 years ago, whenever the hell that was. Shane also says, try not to call me Jimmy. Yeah, you've been knowing me for 40 years. You could call me Jimmy if you want. The landscape of college football is broke with the transfer portal and should have no tampering policy. Should be in place, but if not, he had to make a choice. I'm not. Look, I get it. What else we got here before we start moving on? Mike Silva, he's a coach. He's been coaching a long time. It's a job like any other profession. Leave for more money and what you think is a better job. Again, I'm not blaming Kiffin for doing what he thinks is better. I get why he's leaving. It's not why. It's how. It's not really more money anyway. I think we would have got the same money at Ole Miss from everything that I've read, or pretty darn close to it. Now, the NIL money probably wouldn't have been as good in the grand scheme of things. I get that too. Gabe says Lane's contract isn't fully guaranteed if he's fired. LSU owes 80% of remaining deal at set time. Okay. So it's not as bad as the deal with Brian Kelly, but it's not exactly good either. Brandon, what's going on? My friend Brandon Daigle is here. Good morning, my friend. Phil Mariani says, how does Mike D feel about the Lane Kiffin hire? Maybe we'll have him on soon and find out. Let's see. Oh, man. I'm only going to show this because I love you. But maybe this is the next home for your boy. Riptide. It's one of the few. There's not many people I would have shown that for. I'm just letting you know. All right. Anyway, like my dog says, Brian Kelly's getting an $800,000 check every month. Cry me a river. I'm not crying a river. Who's crying for Brian Kelly? I'm not crying for Brian Kelly. Nobody's crying for Brian. No, nobody's my dog. Nobody's a Brian Kelly sympathizer at all. I think you're missing the point of all this. No one's a Brian Kelly sympathizer at all. All right. I'm going to come back. We're going to come back to LSU when Gabe comes on. I'm sure that's what he wants to talk about this morning. But I want to move on. It is, we've been on this Lane train for a while. Again, we will come back to the Lane train, but there's a couple other things I want to talk about this morning. Oh, by the way, I never even showed this slide. You know what? I will hang on it real quick on the Lane train. It's just to show you his record. And look, I get. If you look at this, you understand why Kiffin has become this. I'm going to say this to defend the Brian Kelly part of it. I mean, the Lane Kiffin part of it. I get why they wanted him. If you look at his record, and this is in chronological order going backwards. So Tennessee is where it started, 7-6, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through his early days. He's quote unquote a changed man now. We will see. Yeah, Christian. I get it. And Christian and I, we go way back, by the way. So a guy who really loves buffets once said Sean Payton was the most arrogant man on earth. LSU found it's his successor. Sean Payton's up there. And one point that my son doesn't make a whole lot of great points, but he made one yesterday. And I got to give it to him. He said that, all this talk about ego and narcissism and everything else, and Sean Payton fits that bill 100%. He 100% fills that bill. So he was a great coach. I'm not saying those kinds of coaches can't be great coaches. I think Lane Kiffin's I don't think he's as great as everybody thinks he is. I think he's a really good football coach. It's the other crap that bothers me that goes on with it. It's just something not right. And if you look at these numbers again, it's in this what have you done for me lately world that we live in. Sure, the last 3 years he's going to combine. Let me use my Shough math real quick. This could be a problem. 32-6 over the past 3 years, and now he's got an Ole Miss team that has never been in the playoff before is going to the playoff. Before that, 8-5, 10-3, 5-5. He got here via Florida Atlantic, went to the CUSA championship game twice with 2 11-3 seasons, and sandwich in the middle was 5-7. But he got run out of USC. Again, I hope all of y'all are right. I hope there's no question that this offense is going to be a different offense. And again, with Blake Baker still here for at least another year, you would think. You don't think he's going to leave. They signed him. It's wrapped up. Supposedly it's done. But, I mean, so theoretically, the offense is going to be that much better. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be yet. Are they going to be able to get more playmakers? Are they going to be able to fix that offensive line? God, I hope so. Lane Kiffin's got a lot of work to do. I love that he's doing it, starting to work on it already, but it's far from a done deal. From a done deal that LSU would just jump back into the national championship mix. I hope they do. I hope we're sitting here next year and look how wrong you are, Derry. He's a great coach, and LSU's 10-2 and going to the college football playoffs. They're going to host a game. You're an idiot. I hope you're all right. Hope you're all right. All right. I want to touch on this. And obviously, we talk about Tulane and Jon Sumrall taking the Florida gig. Again, I'm going to come back to Lane Kiffin in a little bit when Gabe comes on. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with Tulane or the Saints. We are going to spend probably 15 minutes talking about the Saints. I'm going to move on back to LSU. Probably about 30, 40 minutes left in the show. Tulane, unimpressive in their win against Charlotte. The defense obviously good, but Charlotte's terrible. So 27-0 victory. Just kind of cakewalk through that thing. I think Tulane ended up being a 28.5 point favorite. They won by 27. So the odds makers were right again. Now the American Conference title game is at Yeoman on Friday night at 7:00. Same time, of course, that I'll be doing a high school game, so I will miss watching the game. But the Mean Green of North Texas coming to town to play Tulane. Jon Sumrall will be the coach for Tulane in this game, and supposedly whatever game Tulane plays after this one. Now, if Tulane plays North Texas, from everything we see and hear, the Green Wave are in the playoffs. I think that's true, but I'm not like everyone else. I'm not 100% convinced that this is true. Yep. You're right, UBN. Here comes the Tulane blow boy. That's right, baby. Give me some greenies action. I don't know what I'm going to pick for this game. I need to go through and look. This is a game that I will definitely spend some time on. Mean Green against the Green. It's a lot of green. A lot of green. Speaking of green, Jon Sumrall got paid. Didn't he? What did he get? What was it, Gabe? Give me the kind. And I don't want to just throw it out there before saying something wrong. Okay, I'll bring it on real quick. Are you looking it up? He wants to come on real quick.
Yeah. 6 years, about 44.7 million.
6 years, 44. So just over 7 million a year.
7.5 a year.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
As far as the reason I wanted to come on was to talk about the playoff. If Tulane wins, they're absolutely in the playoff. And that's because the CFP committee has already set a precedent. Tulane is the highest rated G5 team. And beating
what if they
North
change
Texas,
the ratings Tuesday?
That would be insane to do that, but they could, I guess. Would be no explanation.
It wouldn't be unprecedented that they changed ratings. I mean,
no,
I don't think they will.
But JMU doesn't have the same resume as Tulane.
But why do I keep saying here? Explain this to me then. Why do I keep saying that? I keep seeing that James Madison, and I don't go by, I don't know where ESPN gets their percentages from. So this is me just throwing this out there I don't know how they get their percentage. But they got James Madison at like 65% to make the playoffs, and they have North Texas at like 30-something% and Tulane at 30-something%. So all those can't be true. Why do they have James Madison that high?
Because James Madison plays an 8-4 Troy team.
Okay, I don't understand that
conference title.
But how are they going to get to the playoff? They're not both. They're not James Madison and Tulane. Because James Madison and North Texas aren't going to make.
No. They Duke actually wins. Could.
And the only way is if Duke wins. Duke's not going to win.
Well, I was going to say, have you watched Virginia this year? They're not exactly convincing.
They're not going to beat Duke. By the way, the ACC really needs to change how they do that.
The ACC should not get 2 teams in, or should not get a team in. Really,
they shouldn't get there. I mean, I think it's absurd that the way they do their championship game. You want to talk about screwing yourself? The ACC completely screwed themselves. I don't get that at all.
They screwed themselves by stinking. So to answer your original question, the reason that it's like 30% is because North Texas is currently not in the CFP rankings, nor is JMU. So I think it's taking into the fact that unpredictability, whereas North Texas and Tulane is more of a toss-up of a game than the Sun Belt title. So I think that's why JMU is currently favored by percentage to get in, because this is an unpredictable game. And if North Texas, who is the favorite, were to win, we don't know how the committee views North Texas versus how they view JMU.
Fair enough. I look, everything I've heard that says what you just said. So I see these percentages, and if what you're saying is true, I mean, if Tulane controls its own destiny and they win, they're in. And again, I believe that to be the case, then the percentage would really be something along the lines of 44% that they're in, and then North Texas would be 56% that they're in. Like there's almost
but like I said, just the thing is we don't know how the committee views North Texas versus JMU. So that's why.
Oh, I mean, that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever that North Texas, who's favored, by the way, on the road in the American title game. That's absurd if that's the case. I'm not saying you're not right, but if
I'm saying we don't know. We don't know how they view the two because they're not in the rankings.
Yeah,
that's why.
All right,
we don't know who they view as having the better resume.
All right, we'll have you on in a few minutes to talk LSU as I wrap up Tulane and get into Saints for a minute. Gabe Henderson, everybody. He'll be back on in just a moment. So anyway, there's a comment here that I'm glad you brought up because I probably would have forgot to say this. Mountain Dog says, "What does?" Oh wait, that's not the right one. That's not the one I wanted. Wait, here you go. He says, "Wait, so Tulane is in the regular playoffs, and Sumrall leaving, but nobody got smoke for him." I've said this like 10 times now. I'm going to say it again. Comparing Jon Sumrall leaving Tulane and going to Florida, and Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss and going to LSU is like comparing oranges and elephant nuts. They're not even close to the same. It's not even in the same zip code, state, not in the same country, not even the same kind of the same. Well, why is that? Because Jon Sumrall is going to Florida. Florida and Tulane don't compete for anything in the same. They don't compete for. No one who's considering going to Florida is considering going to Tulane. Okay, it ain't happening. Meanwhile, Tulane is just super thrilled, and they knew when they knew this day that they had no unrealistic expectations at Tulane. They knew the day they got Jon Sumrall, if they were going to be successful, which is obviously what every Tulane fan hoped. Tulane fans aren't mad at Jon. No, maybe one unrealistic goofball Wave fan is pissed off at Jon Sumrall, but no realistic Tulane fan is mad at Jon Sumrall for going to Florida. Nobody. They love him. Complete opposite from Lane Kiffin, who is leaving. He's not just leaving Ole Miss when they're about to go to the playoffs for the first time ever. Okay. Not just leaving Ole Miss right now. He's leaving Ole Miss to go to probably the most hated school in Ole Miss's little bubble world. Number one on the list. If it's not LSU, LSU is certainly number 2, right? I mean, I went and watched all the things that I watched last night. This is why I was a minute late coming in this. I was so tired this morning because I stayed up watching. I had to watch every angle. I even watched an Ole Miss pod. And I wanted to hear the Ole Miss angle. So I watched the Locked In. It's kind of comical, actually. You should go watch it. The Locked On Ole Miss podcast. It's really kind of funny. Oh, we're so glad Lane Kiffin's going. Shut the hell up. You're glad Lane Kiffin's going. You're only glad because you hate him now. He's going, if he, I don't know. Whatever. Reality doesn't strike. No one, it's a completely different situation. You cannot, as Ole Miss, leave Lane Kiffin in as your coach and let him go. Meanwhile, he's recruiting on the side for LSU while he's trying to, quote unquote, prepare for the playoffs. That's absurd. Oh yeah, let me work on the phones for that LSU NIL money. Oh yeah, what's that? What's that? Oh, Chambliss has got a tweaked ankle. Yeah, just take care of it. Whatever. Can't do it. It's a completely different situation. Not even kind of the same. Jon Sumrall to Florida. Is he going to be successful there? I think so. I'm a Jon Sumrall. Y'all know this. I'm a Jon Sumrall fan. I think he's going to be successful in Florida. I think he would be more. He's not Billy Napier. Look, Seth Lewis, who I'm going to have on this show very soon, who works at Channel 4, he was talking about it on 4th Down and 4 last night and saying that there's a big difference that, Napier is a more analytics kind of coach and goes by a card. And meanwhile, Sumrall has done an excellent job at trying to balance being a new coach in a new era, a new age coach, a young coach in a new era as compared to, but still intertwines analytics in his game. As far as game day, Jon Sumrall is a much better coach than Billy Napier. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Also, I think he's proven that he's probably a better recruiter too. Fat Boy Slim says he'll tell us what. Y'all talking noise about Lane. The whole SEC is now on notice with Lane's offense and Baker's average defense. Average defense. If LSU had an average defense, I promise you they wouldn't have won 7 games this year. If they would have had an average defense, they'd have won like 4 games, maybe 3. I don't know if you're an LSU hater or a Lane lover, or I don't know. How did Napier even get the Florida job? The answer is he was the hot up and young coach coming up. But again, I'm not trying to piss off my ooh la la friends, but you don't go from ooh la la to Florida, in my opinion. Apathy says Sumrall had to replace. Absolutely, this is true. Sumrall had to replace 17 players and their starting quarterback with no quality starter on the team. That is absolutely true. Gabe says he is certain that Sumrall will succeed. I'm going to be surprised if Sumrall doesn't succeed. Lance says he did a really great job. That's my opinion. All right, we're going to move on to Saints again. We're going to come back to Lane Kiffin to end the show when we get to Gabe. Okay, Fat Boy Slim says he's an LSU fan since 1970. He's saying I'll get you, even if it's average. Okay, I misunderstood. That's the thing when you're reading type. Sometimes you don't 100% understand. He's saying that even if the defense is average, that LSU is going to be a national championship contender again. I'm not saying you're wrong. Look, I'm not denying, and I'm going to go back to this real quick because I really do need to move on. I'm not saying that Lane Kiffin isn't a good coach, okay? It's like anything else. I'm just saying, I don't get the love. If you look at this, if he's such a great coach, if he's the end all be all of coaches right now, I get it. We live in a what have you done for me lately kind of world. And Lane Kiffin, and what have you done for me lately? You can look at those numbers, and he's done a lot. It's 32-6 in the last 3 seasons. You brought Ole Miss somewhere they've never been. I get it. But what did he do before that? 8-5, 10-3. Okay, 10-3 is good. 5-5. But he did it at Ole Miss. Well, I mean, then why is he leaving Ole Miss? Everything's better at LSU. Okay, I don't. I hear where y'all are coming from. I hope you're all right, 100%. Hope you're all right. I want you to be all right. Fat Boy Slim, he says he wasn't his first choice. Out of curiosity, who was your first choice? Mine was Sumrall. Dillingham was a lot of people's first choice because Dillingham, you want to talk about up and young and coming. He could be the next Dan Lanning. And he probably would have brought a quarterback with him from Arizona State. But I don't know. Arizona State got beat up. Bart Prudhomme says that Lane will have LSU in the SEC championship game in 2 years. He might. One Smoke. The way y'all Sumrall basically lovers, I better succeed because I'm going to be the one to call y'all out. Okay, that's cool. As long as you come back and say we were right if we were right. I have no problem with somebody bringing receipts. But I love all these people, especially like perfect example is and Fat Boy Slim says Sumrall was his first choice as well. And that's a perfect segue. All these people that are carrying receipts, y'all never come back when you're wrong. Okay? And I'm not calling you out, One Smoke. I'm just saying in general. All the people with receipts never come back when they're wrong. Like, I've lost some of the people who love Spencer Rattler and telling me how wrong I was about Spencer Rattler. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Just saying. Now, a few of them came back, and a few of them are coming back every now and then, but they're not here defending their man anymore. Just saying. Yeah, we're just gonna spend like 10 minutes on the Saints this morning, maybe 15 tops. And I'm just reading through the tea leaves and read some of the comments that are not just on my own show, but reading the tea leaves through social media. I think I'm in the minority saying that I was encouraged by what I saw yesterday. It's another loss. Yeah, it sucks. 2-10 sucks. I'm trying to sugarcoat 2-10. But remember when the Saints lost to the Rams and I said, I think, before I even saw anything else, I said, I think this is the bottom. The word I used was nadir. Shaw boys like to use big words every now and then, even though it's only 5 letters. Even they like to use words that people don't get to use all that often just to show that we're not as dumb as everybody thinks we are. So I used the word nadir. I thought it was the bottom for the Saints. And I think so far that maybe it is. Now, the way they played in the first half yesterday was worse than it was just about as bad as anything they did against the Rams. But they went in at halftime and whatever they did worked. So all the people look, I'm not saying Kellen Moore deserves a lot of praise today, but I thought he did a better job this week. I thought the game plan overall in the grand scheme of things was better. It wasn't executed in the first half. I thought some of the play calling was suspect, but it was better. Remember, he's a young coach. To be able to come back from a 16-0 deficit and put yourself in a position to win. Did they win? No. But what I'm telling you is I truly believe that I think that this team is going to win that kind of game next year. How many games are they going to win next year? I have no idea. We got a long way to go till we even get to the draft. Who are they going to draft? I have no idea. We got a lot of time to talk about that coming up. That's what we're going to talk a lot about in February and March, and obviously in April. We got basically 3 months to talk about that coming up. But right now, we still have 5 games left now. Starting with next week at Tampa Bay, who hasn't looked very good lately. Did the Saints win it? I don't know. I'm not going to say no. But the Saints showed heart yesterday. That's who cares? They show heart. They stink. The offensive line is terrible. Okay. There's no question in the offseason, even though they need playmakers. Absolutely, they need playmakers. They absolutely need a number 1 running back. They need a playmaker at receiver. I don't care what any of y'all said. Go ahead, bash me in the comments. I'm going to get to it in a minute. I see I got a bunch since I last left you. I think do I love Chris Olave? No. But I'm just not going to listen to the BS. I'm not going to listen to the BS that he's not a number 1 receiver. He's absolutely 100% a number 1 receiver. He's a WR1, 100%. And if I'll repeat what I said, I don't care if you don't like it or not. If you don't think he's a WR1, you're either a hater and you just can't see the truth, or you're a moron. There's no in between. There's no sugarcoating. You're one of those two things if you think Chris Olave is not a wide receiver 1. Period. He's 7th in the NFL in catches, and he's 15th in the NFL in receiving yards with 2, however you want to call them, quarterbacks. Rattler and Shough. He's 7th in the NFL in receptions with Rattler and Shough. You fill in the blank. It's pretty good. He dropped the ball. Yeah, he's made some great catches. Let's go through. I want to see every time that every receiver this year has been. I saw George Pickens drop a ball the other day and on Thanksgiving, ball right in his hands. Are Cowboys fans saying George Pickens is a bum? No. Now they have CeeDee Lamb. They actually have 2 wide receiver 1s. They have Lamb and they have Pickens. I would love for the Saints to have 2 wide receiver 1s. They don't. Could Vele be a solid number 2? We'll get to him in a second. Absolutely, he could. He could. But to bash on Chris Olave consistently over and over and over again is absurd. By the way, he's ahead in catches of Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey, Nico Collins, Ted McMillan, etc. That's a pretty good list I just listed out. Would I take him over Justin Jefferson? Of course not. The point is, and Justin Jefferson hasn't had anyone worth a damn throwing to him either this year. So I'm not blaming Justin Jefferson. Devontae Smith's got Jalen Hurts. A.J. Brown missed a couple of games, and he finally showed up the other day. Good for him. Chris Olave shows up just about every game, who's 1 concussion away probably from his career ending, and bust his ass, and he misses a catch here and there. But I dare you. I just, please, show me a highlight reel. Go back and show me Devontae Smith's targets this year, and I want to see how many drop balls Devontae Smith has. I bet it's 4 or 5. By the way, your idea of a drop catch and the official term are 2 different things. People just keep bashing him. Now, I haven't looked at any of these comments, so I can't wait to look back at these. My wife is cheering on Christian. Really? Don't you have a meeting to go to? Don't egg him on. Don't egg him on. All right. Bad Boy Slim says the Saints stink. They're 2-10. Of course they stink. And Clay, you bring up something, by the way. I want to clear this up. Clay brings up something UBN talked about earlier, and I meant to show it, and I forgot. I went to go back to. Matt Moscona smoked a cigar on that particular podcast all year long. Fine. That's not necessarily what I meant. Okay. I'm not saying he was just smoking a cigar for the fact that he got his coach. I'm just saying it's kind of symbolic of what a lot of the people who were on the quote unquote, have been on the quote unquote Lane train are thinking. But you are correct. I did not want to mislead anyone to think that. And I meant to show it when UBN showed it earlier. Lance says he's counting that as a pick for Quincy Riley. Feel like we got a solid start for a rebound. Never even mentioned the defense. The defense, look at Tua's numbers yesterday. Now, they gave up a ton to Devon Achane. 22 carries for 134 yards and a touchdown. They couldn't stop him, but hardly anyone has been able to stop him anyway. 12 of 23 for 157 yards, no touchdowns and interception. And that was after a first drive that Tua was pretty good on. Going backwards, I'm just going to show this because I'll forget to show it later. Alan Smith wants to know why I think Sumrall would have come to LSU, because he 189% would have come to LSU had Lane Kiffin not come to LSU. There is 0.0 doubt in my mind that if Lane Kiffin doesn't go to LSU, Jon Sumrall is the coach of LSU. 0.0. 0.0. Back to the Saints. Bart Prudhomme agrees with Bobby Hebert. Olave needs to make those catches. 4 drops in the last. He hasn't had 4 drops in the last 2 weeks. Get out of here. That's haters being haters. Sorry. Clearly a number one. No doubt about it. Gabe says he doesn't even have 4 in the season. Do me a favor. He's not in the top 25 for drops, Gabe says. The official, who is number, by the way, give me the top 5 in drops. This has got to be an interesting list. Gabe's going to give me the top 5 in drops. I'm asking for this as I have absolutely no idea who the top 5 in drops are. No idea. So it could be 5 no names for all I know. Sean says Pickens and Olave would be nice. You think? I know that's never going to happen, but that sure would be nice. All right, here are the top 5 in drops. Jerry Jeudy. That's a number 1. Or at least he's number 1 on the Browns. Are there 32 receivers better than Jerry Jeudy? Gabe says there are. Brian Thomas. He could be a number 1 if he got a head out of his ass. Now, here's a clear number 1. Number 3 on the list of drops. I don't hear anyone bitching about CD Lamb. CD Lamb's number 3 in the NFL in drops. Here's another number 1. I don't hear anyone in the NFL bitching about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Nobody bitching about him. Clearly a number 1. And here's a guy who just number 1 everything. Number 5 in the NFL in drop passes. One of the top 5 offensive weapons in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey. Nobody bitching about Christian McCaffrey dropping the football. You know why people hating on Olave? And I said this earlier in the show if you weren't here. They hating Olave because when they think Olave, they think of the old regime. They think about Dennis Allen and think about Derek Carr. Did he even say Derek Carr? Yes, I did. I said Derek Carr. That's what they think about when they think of Chris Olave. That's why they hate Chris Olave. Chris Olave could have 12 targets, 12 catches for 164 yards and 2 touchdowns. They wouldn't say great game, Olave. They wouldn't say a great game. No. They wouldn't say anything. And then the next game, he had 9 catches for 104 yards and 1 touchdown. They'd say, oh, only averaged 10.5 yards a catch. And then the next game, he only had 4 catches for 47 yards, and he had a drop, and they'd talk about the drop the whole game. Like the Saints lost that game because Chris Olave sucks. This is what we do. This is what people do. It bothers me. Gabe says he's tied for 18th in touchdowns on a team that can't score. You know, team. I didn't do the schedule slide this week because I knew I wasn't going to be here that long on the Saints. But here's the Saints scoring. I mean, in case you want to remind yourselves of what the Saints have scored the last few weeks. How about the whole season? We'll go in reverse chronological order. 17, 10, 17, 10, 3, 14, 19, 26 because the Giants gifted them 5 turnovers, 19, 13, 21, 13. Earl's pick says the team as a whole hasn't had many touchdowns. That's my point. He's 18th in the NFL in touchdowns, but the Saints only score like 2 a game. And he scores 1 of them. Sean says in Dallas they have been complaining about Lamb. If you're complaining about CD Lamb and you're a Cowboys fan, same deal. Dummy. Brian S. Steve, TDs aren't strictly a wide receiver stat. Come on, man. No, but catches are, and he's 7th. 7th in the NFL. I know you're taking my side there. I didn't mean for that to sound the way it came. I mean, come on, man, as the Olave haters. My dog. Saints are not exactly an offensive juggernaut. No, that's the point. But look, on the positive side, I've said all I said about there are 2 big offensive positives and 1 semi-positive. The two absolute positives I'm going to start with number one. There's no question that Devon Vele was an absolute proved why. Go back. Let's go rewind in time. If you want a receipt, I'll go find one. Remember when you want to talk about people that say stupid shit all the time? Just fans that want, they didn't have anything else about Mickey Loomis. I'm not defending Mickey Loomis, by the way, but I'm saying whatever day it was when the Saints got Devon Vele, they didn't have anything else to bash about Mickey Loomis. But there were tons of comments in this comment stream about how I cannot believe they gave up a 4th-round pick for Devon Vele. Remember that? And some of y'all are still saying it. Devon Vele proved yesterday why the Saints moved on from Shaheed, because they didn't want to pay Shaheed. Vele has like a $400,000 a year contract. They're paying him almost nothing. And he proved that he can be a number 2. Is he going to be a number 2? I don't know. But even if he's a number 3, making $400,000 a year as a big-bodied receiver, something the Saints don't have, he's absolutely worth it. Can you think of someone that you go out and get in the 4th round that's better than Vele right now? No. Absolutely worth the 4th-round pick. Anyway, 8 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. Of course, we want to see more of those performances, but I think Vele has shown in the past 3 or 4 weeks, he was banged up for a little bit, missed some time, come back, and ever since he's come back, he has proven that he is going to be a big part of this offense. You know? 8 catches for 93 yards. So that's my number one big positive from yesterday. I think my number 2 is Devin Neal. Now, his numbers in the grand scheme of things aren't fantastic. He had 14 carries for 47 yards, and he had 3 catches for 22 yards. But the fact that they tried to make him a big part of the offense, and he kind of ran with, and that's a bad pun, but he kind of ran with his opportunity. I was encouraged by what I saw by Devin Neal yesterday. In no way, shape, or form do I think Devin Neal is a future number 1 running back. I think the Saints, honestly, if you ask me, if you pin me down right now and say what I want the Saints to draft in the 1st round of the draft, I would prefer that they move down. I know they're not going to do that, but this is what I would like. I would love for them to move down and either take a running back or a guard. Okay? The Saints need a guard more than they need anything, but pretty close second is a running back. So if you pair a really good running back with Neal and say, I mean, AK's got to go. Just eat. You get $8 million back. You have to eat $8 million this year, and he's got to go. So that's what I'd want right now. Encouraged by Devin Neal. Number 3, offensively anyway, Shough's second half was outstanding. He made, in my opinion, the worst pass that any Saint has made this entire year on that ridiculous interception in the first half. That was terrible. It was a terrible decision. It was a terrible pass. But he's a rookie. It's going to happen. And then he threw a pick 2. I don't know that I mean, I'm sure I've seen a pick 2, but I've never talked about a pick 2 before. That was pretty bad too. But 26 of 38, his numbers consistently are better than what we've seen from the Saints passing attack in the first half. Not calling anybody out. I'm just saying he is the Saints' number 1 quarterback. And no matter whether you agree with me or don't agree with me, and I'm not Tyler Shough has a lot more to prove, don't get me wrong. But I think the team thinks that he is going to be the future. And I'd be very surprised at this point in time if Tyler Shough isn't the starting quarterback for the Saints in game 1 of the 2026 season. We will see. But I think he's shown enough. Honestly, he's shown enough so far. If he keeps showing what he's been doing, he's shown enough, and he's earned that right. Lance, are you joking? You'd run it back with, Radens over Ruiz. I see. I thought you meant Radens and Ruiz when I first read that. Yeah, I'd probably take Radens over Ruiz. I'm as done with Ruiz as all y'all are. I'm done. I'm done. Sean, please no guard in the first round either. You draft top. I get it. You want sexy. I understand that's not sexy in the first round. I will say this: if they don't trade back, then you really can't use that spot for a guard. You're not going to draft a guard with the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th pick, which is what the Saints are going to have. It's a perfect chance for them to drop back. Mitch Bergeron says the Saints need a center. McCoy Simon, you're not drafting a center right now, Mitch. Sorry. You can't. You got too many other important needs. You're not drafting a center right now. You can't. That's later. I'm not saying they won't need one later. One Smoke says you can sign a lineman in free agency. I agree. And I think that they should they should go out of their way to sign the top guard in free agency, and then guard is reaching in the first round. It's not reaching in the first round if you do it at the back end. That's why you trade down and you get multiple picks. I think you go out and get the best guard in free agency, and you trade down and draft the best guard. But I'm also okay with trading for a running back. Montauk doesn't want 7 straight guards. Where are you getting 7 straight guards from? Banks is not a guard. He wasn't a guard. He was a tackle in college. He's a tackle here. Fuaga was always going to be a tackle. So don't try to pull that. They drafted 2 tackles because they need them. Now, the jury's still out on both of those guys because they both had mediocre seasons. Fuaga moving to the right. Fuaga was bad yesterday. He was not good yesterday. One Smoke. We need to draft skill players in the draft. You want skill players because it's sexy. Everybody wants fun. It's the reason why they went Lane Kiffin. It's fun. Doesn't mean that's the best hire for LSU. It's fun, damn it. We want fun. We don't want what we need fun. I'm not saying I completely disagree with you because, again, I'm all about a running back. But I don't want to be drafting a wide receiver in the first round. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, they should draft a wide receiver. But that's another thing. If you trade back and get you another early pick this year and an early pick in the 27 draft for trading down, and then maybe you can get a guard. Maybe you get another first-round pick this year and next year. Maybe you're going to have a high enough pick. You get a guard, you get a running back this year early, then you get a wide receiver in the second round, maybe. I could tell you right now. You're saying draft a running back. I know. I'm saying you can do multiple things. I completely disagree, Brian. D-line is what they need. Completely disagree. I think the D-line has played pretty damn well lately. It's all about whether Chase Young stays healthy or not. Honestly, the D-line has been pretty good. We'll see how it goes. Earl says the Bears built the middle of their line in free agency, and look at them. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done, Earl. I hope that the Saints do. Maybe they do get 2 guards in free agency. The problem is there aren't usually a lot of guards available in the free agent market because teams that have good ones make sure their guards stay where they are. Look at the teams that have been successful. The Lions, the Eagles. Even the Chiefs. They try to keep their guards. They don't often go because they don't let them go. Anyway, that's my opinion there. We're going to talk more about the Saints. Probably, I'm guessing it's going to probably be. We'll see what happens Wednesday when we might have 2 guests in the show Wednesday. We'll see. I don't know how the rest of the week's going to go. It's going to be very interesting. We are back on our regular Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, by the way. If you haven't subscribed, if you like the show, if you like what you've been hearing, or even if you don't agree with me, but you like the show, please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, click the little bell to receive notifications when we go in the air live. All right. I want to bring Gabe on because we are at 1:30. We got about another 15 minutes tops in the show. I'm not saying I won't talk any more Saints because I am willing to talk a little bit more Saints. But I want to come back. I'm sure Gabe's going to want to go to his thoughts on LSU. And look, I've said this before. I want differing opinions. I know Gabe, probably not it's not like he's 180 degree different than mine, but it's a differing opinion. And You represent the people that are excited about this hire. I don't saying that in a bad way. I mean, I look, there's way more people that are excited than not excited if you're an LSU fan. Okay. Again, I get it. So just give me your point of view. Why, if you're an LSU fan, you give me the viewpoint of why you should be super fired up today.
Well, the thing that people have been throwing around is that if Lane Kiffin does what he's done at Ole Miss the last few years, he'll be fired at LSU, which is just objectively false. Good morning, Charles. We're in a new era of college football. We're in the 12-team playoff. And if you look, Lane Kiffin has won 10-plus games in 4 of the last 5 seasons. 3 of those, he won 10 games in the regular season.
Slide over just a little bit when I show this. There you go.
So 3 of those seasons, those 10 wins came from the regular season without a bowl win. I believe the exception was 2020. No, it was 2024 was the exception because they went 9-3 and they won their bowl game.
Right.
Beat Penn State. Or not Penn State. They beat, I don't remember who they beat, but they beat someone. But he's had 10 plus wins in the regular season in 3 of those 5 years. Those would be playoff seasons now. And if Lane Kiffin makes 3 playoffs in 5 years.
He lost in 2020. The last loss he had was in the Texas Bowl. And then he lost in the Sugar Bowl in 2021. Mm-hmm. He lost in the Sugar Bowl to Baylor.
Yeah. So he won 10 games in the regular season those years. And if it, as we're seeing now, if you win 10 games in the regular season as an SEC team, you're more than likely going to be in. So everyone is sitting here talking about,
but I guess
why he'd be fired. And I agree with you. I don't think he will be fired.
True. No, I don't think he's going to fire. Everything you say is true. I'm not disputing. I mean, first of all, most of it was facts, but we're living in the. I'll go back to what worries me is like we're living in the what have you done for me lately over the entire crystal ball picture of what he's done as a whole. So why are the last 3 years more important than what he did in the 11 years in college football before that?
Well, he also had a 10-win 2 10-win seasons at Florida Atlantic and 1 at USC. So I mean, this isn't just recent success. It's just now I think because to answer your question, at Ole Miss he stayed there the longest. He was there for 6 seasons, and we've seen constant, sustained success in the current era of college football at a school that it had never had that level of success before. And I think that's why people can get excited. Joe
DiStefano, who's going to be a part of this show going forward, we'll tell you more about him later on. We'll mention his name again. Doesn't like the hire,
which is fine.
And look, there. I know there are people that think the way that I think, and I guess look, again, it's not as much. I want to again. I got to say this because people come in and out, and I get it. I'm not saying that Lane Kiffin doesn't have he has the right to do what he's doing. He's not doing anything that's it's just kind of the way and his
the way that he does it. I get it.
Yeah. It's the way that he does it, and it's the choice. I just don't. I know LSU fans won't agree with me when I say this, but he's built up Ole Miss to where I think they could potentially be. If he's that damn good, then potentially Ole Miss could be this every single year. I don't see why they can't if he's that damn good. So he's going to come now.
Here's the thing, Jim. It's easier to do it at LSU than it is at Ole Miss because as I talked about last week, the way that NIL is structured is changing. Which will make it is probably a little more difficult for Ole Miss. LSU is not going to have any shortage of businesses lining up to sponsor the football team.
That's true.
They're arguably the biggest brand in college football in terms of social following, all of the influence that they have out there, and because here's the thing, and here's why I think he ultimately left for LSU, because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier at LSU. As Apathy pointed out, he got on campus yesterday and the number one recruit in the country was in his office essentially waiting for him.
Yeah, well,
you don't get that anywhere else.
You would hope. Brian Kelly did similar things when he was coaching too.
Yeah, but that's a luxury that you're afforded at LSU. You are not competing with anyone in the state of Louisiana for recruiting. You have that on lock so long as you keep these guys on staff that know how to recruit Louisiana. And you have and it all goes back to high school recruiting. In these days of NIL, sure, you can put together a good team for a year through the portal. Lane Kiffin has built his success through the transfer portal, which now he's getting a lot of money from LSU to do that. But at LSU, you are also getting year after year a top 5 high school recruiting class, which
I'm just gonna
bodes better for sustained.
Okay, I hear all of those things and agree. By the way, real quick, let me share this comment. Jimmy Wallace, and I'm sorry I didn't reach out to you yesterday, my friend. Happy birthday, late birthday. Great birthday present for him. Hearing that Lane will be the new head coach. Go Tigers. I'm just going to, we like to throw facts and numbers out there. I mean, sometimes they back up our point, sometimes they don't. But I'm going to throw this out there that I said in my dime, for those who missed my dime, that Lane Kiffin, and again, this isn't the what have you done for me lately, Lane Kiffin. This is the overall Lane Kiffin.
Uh-huh.
His winning percentage in college is closer to Mike Archer's winning percentage at LSU than it is to Les Miles's. Les Miles is way ahead of him. It's also lesser. His winning percentage is lesser than that of Brian Kelly, Coach O, Les Miles, Bill Arnsparger, Charlie Mack, and Bernie Moore. That's just their times at LSU.
Hold on.
That's not their overall coaching numbers. Those are their numbers at LSU.
So I crunched the numbers the other day. I apologize. I forget the commenter that asked the question. It might have been Randall who asked the question last week to compare Lane's win percentage in the SEC to Brian Kelly's. I believe Kelly was at like a 738 and Lane was at a 738 purely in the SEC. Purely in the SEC, Lane has a slightly better win percentage.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I believe you. You did the number. I'm not going to. You were very good with numbers.
I'm just going off the cuff on that. I believe it was like a 740 between Ole Miss and Tennessee.
Well, here
and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going into this as
real quick. Again, as I put this back up there, but I mean, you can see what he did at Tennessee. He was 7-6. At Ole Miss, 5-5, 10-3, 8-5, 11-2, 10-3, 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 32-6 the past 3 years.
Yeah,
very impressive. But I think a lot of the love and a massive part of the love for this dude is because of, I'll say it again, the what have you done lately aspect of this whole thing.
And I'm not here to try and, I mean, other than the fact that you literally asked me to do so, I'm not here to try and sell anyone on Lane Kiffin. You're going to feel how you're going to feel about him. I think the one thing that we can all approach this, we can take into this situation is, let's just hope he succeeds.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we all agree with that. I'll agree with that. Joe also says, didn't care if you like crawfish have a Cajun accent. Our quote culture is being genuine. Us versus them mentality. It's a me, not a we type of guy. He thinks he's Brian Kelly 2.0.
No, he's not. He and Brian Kelly are two totally different people.
Well, there's no doubt they're two different kind of people.
Yeah.
But are their records going to be any different?
I think so. I think Lane Kiffin will have more. And so
Stetter says, hopefully.
So people like to, and this is kind of straying away from the point, but I do feel it's important to bring this up. And once again, I apologize. I don't remember who posted this, but I saw someone on X post it the other day. Brian Kelly was at LSU for 4 seasons. In that time, he was 34-14. LSU fielded the worst special teams unit, the worst defense, and the worst offense the school has ever seen in 3 different seasons, which is a remarkly bad.
You can't say ever seen, but
it's the first time that they've ever failed.
That defense they had 3 years ago is, I mean, that was so unbearable to watch. That was so unbearable to watch.
And I believe statistically, this offense is like the worst that the school's ever had.
Sean, I understand this point, and I know you're not really asking a question. You're trying to bring your point this way. Do you think it's possible that Kiffin may have felt Ole Miss the ceiling may have just been making the playoffs? Maybe. I don't think he felt that way. I think Lane Kiffin.
I think he thinks he could win a title.
Yeah, I think Lane Kiffin's ego won't let him think that the narcissist in him.
I was just going to say that, going back to that last comment, I don't think Lane Kiffin would allow himself to think any differently.
Yeah. UBN says all he's saying is the same conversations we're having about this hire. It's the exact same conversations we had on the Kelly hire. Can we agree on that? I can. I mean, except for the part of
that's the conversation that we have with every LSU coach is, and I was talking about someone with this. I was talking to someone about this earlier. LSU is very unique. Only Ohio State can claim, which as of last year they have done so. Since 2000, only LSU and Ohio State have won national titles with different coaches, and they've both done so with 3 different coaches.
Right.
If you look at every other team to win multiple titles since 2000, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Clemson, and I believe USC are the only other 5. They've all done so with the same coach.
Yeah.
So LSU has always been about finding that guy. And the same thing that people are going to say for every LSU hire until they do find that guy is, well, he could be that guy. So we did say that with Kelly. We said that with Orgeron. We said that with Les Miles. We said that with Nick Saban, but Nick Saban ultimately left. So
Ryan
and I'm, to UBN's point, I'm not going to guarantee that he wins 10 games a year. Next season, he's got a huge rebuild on his hands.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to push back just a little bit on this. First of all, Ryan, let's be factual, okay? Don't lose your 2 biggest home games in back-to-back years by 30 plus. They didn't lose this year. They haven't lost the game by 30 plus this year, have they?
Did they lose to A&M by 30 plus?
No, they lost A&M by 24, which isn't good.
No,
but
good.
So let's be factual.
Sentiment, but
yeah,
those also weren't the 2 biggest home games.
Correct. I mean, and we can't cherry pick what our if whatever the 2 biggest losses are, that's your biggest home game. I don't. Why is that the biggest home game? Why isn't the Florida game the biggest home game? Or, I mean, you go through other. I mean, I don't necessarily. Why is that the biggest home game? So it's a big game. Every game in the SEC is big, in my opinion.
And Lane Kiffin understands that as well as anyone.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, unless you're playing like Arkansas or South Carolina, or even sometimes South Carolina, but unless you're playing the bottom rung, if you're playing anyone that's in the top half of the SEC, to me they're all just as important. Even Alabama, you may hate Alabama more, and that's more important to you. I get it, but that doesn't mean anything. Kelly couldn't beat Alabama. He beat him the first time he played him.
Yeah, he quite literally beat him the first time. Isn't that the problem with every LSU coach? They can't beat Alabama, but they've all done it. Les did it. Ed did it. Kelly did it. Just not consistent.
Justin Bracey and I don't always agree, but I'm going to throw this up there because I think this is a great point.
I think
Lane Kiffin is point. Like, look, I don't like Lincoln Riley. I would rather Lane Kiffin over Lincoln Riley, but Lane Kiffin is like Lincoln Riley. Good offensive mind, but his defenses are usually subpar. He has to win right away.
Subpar next year.
And look, and like Kiffin's defense under Golding, they were good. They weren't great. They were good, not great this year. They certainly got better as the year went along.
I will tell you the difference. The difference between Lincoln Riley and Lane Kiffin. Lincoln Riley has run from competition. The second that Oklahoma was going to the SEC, he bolted. He didn't take the LSU job. He does not want any part of the SEC.
Yeah.
All right. But Lincoln Riley is too committed to his guys. He had Alex Grinch with him forever. That's why his defenses were usually subpar. Lincoln Riley has shown a willingness to change defensive staffs. And I know we're not going to, give him a gold star for keeping Blake Baker, but I think it was a great decision.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that was a must when he came here, and obviously Golding wasn't coming with him. Golding wants to be the head coach at Ole Miss. He got offered the job. He took the job, and it's not an interim thing. He's actually the coach at Ole Miss, and good for him. But I think that was a no-brainer. If he would not have kept Blake Baker, I would have questioned his sanity. Assuming Blake Baker wanted to stay here, there were rumors that Blake Baker might be interested in the Tulane job, but apparently,
well, I think Blake Baker being at the football ops building last night showed you what he wanted.
Yeah, Adam Varner, welcome to the show. Sorry you missed the Saints part. You can go back and watch it later on. But
can I make one comment on this?
Yeah, give me one last comment because we're going to move on and make our Monday Night Football pick. Go ahead.
One comment on the Saints. Everyone's saying that Olave dropped that pass. Should he have made the catch? Maybe. that's a much harder catch
Yeah.
to make than, because if you slow it down, it looks like he has multiple seconds to get into position and get his arm.
Correct.
When really he was hand fighting with the DB up until the
Correct.
time the ball got there. I mean,
There's so many-
it's an unrealistic expectation to say he should. Every
You notice
time
that no one
make
has
that catch.
mentioned Juwan Johnson the past 4 to 6 weeks because he
Juwan
hasn't
Johnson
had
has the most.
he hasn't had
drops
he
on
hasn't
the
had a
season.
he hasn't had a quote drop in a few weeks. Nobody's really pissed off at Juwan. Every time something bad happens for the Saints, if they can pin it on Olave or Juwan Johnson, again, both guys tied to the past regime, they're going to blame it on those guys. And that's just
Juwan Johnson is 6th in the NFL in drops, by the way.
Oh wow, there you go. I'm not taking up a Juwan Johnson.
And
I thought that
this
contract
is
was
not me. You know as well as anybody. I gave you a list of 25 receivers last year that were better than Olave. I'm not an Olave lover, but he is a number 1 receiver.
I think there's no question that's true. All right, let's wrap it up here. Giving our, as we usually do here on Monday, giving our Monday night football prediction week 13. An interesting game. Maybe I think any game Jameis Winston plays in is interesting. Is Jameis Winston going to play tonight, by the way? He is? He is playing tonight, right?
No, it's Jackson Dart tonight.
It's Jackson Dart's coming back? Okay.
Yep.
Well, maybe it won't be as interesting. The Giants are 7.5-point underdogs, just like the Commanders were 7.5-point underdogs last night. The Patriots trying to win number 10 in a row and keep hold on that number 1 seed in the AFC, trying to fend off Sean Payton's Denver. Bro, who'd have thunk that? Fighting for 1 and 2 right now in New England and Denver in the AFC. I know it's refreshing for some, but the Patriots, who lost their first 2 games, are now trying to win their 10th straight game under one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, if not my favorite.
I'm not going to say I saw it coming because I didn't think they'd be this good, but I thought they'd be good, just not like this.
Yeah. Well, do you have an official pick for tonight?
I do, and it's a weird one to make after I just made that comment. I like the Giants plus 7.5.
All right.
And
why?
And I'll tell you why. They have the second worst record in the league at 2-10, but they're 7-5 against the spread. And in their last 9 games, they've only lost by 8 points or more 3 times. They're 6-3 against the spread since benching Russell Wilson. So New England is kind of due for a letdown spot, and these Monday night games and Sunday night primetime games, they seem to be weird. Like,
yeah,
they're all of these juggernauts against the bad teams, and the bad teams always seem to hang around. So I kind of like the Giants to cover here.
EBN says it's been a week of the dogs. It has been. Roof. New England 30, Giants 17, says Tom. Bears, they're going to.
Bears are not the number 1 seed in the NFL.
By the way, they're going to.
NFC, not NFL.
They're going to turn back into the Bears very soon. Anyway, I do not have an opinion. Look, I didn't like. There wasn't a lot I liked betting wise yesterday. I told y'all earlier. My number 1 bet yesterday was one of my number 1 bets of the season. The Niners -5 over the Browns was literally like stealing money, and I should have bet a mortgage payment on it, but I didn't do it. UBN says New England 27, Giants 24. I'm probably not going to. I didn't bet the Sunday night game last night. I didn't bet anything at 3:00 because I didn't like anything, and I don't like this game. So I'm probably not going to make a bet. If you gave me $100 of your money and forced me to bet it, I would probably go the other way and take New England -7.5 because I'd actually be more inclined to take the Giants if Jameis was still in there. I think that look, I think that the Patriots are just that damn good. And I kind of
well coached
under a little bit. I don't love it, but I don't love anything in this game. I'm probably just going to stay away. So I think the Patriots are really good. Vrabel's a really good coach, and I'm just going to enjoy the game and watch it and enjoy it, and maybe put $10 on it because I can't help it myself and I'm a degenerate. But in the grand scheme of things,
you want a good bet to go make for the rest of the season. Texans are still plus 350 to win the South.
Texans are NFC or how much?
Plus 350 to win the AFC South.
Yeah, can't do it. I'm not saying I hate it. Let me look.
I think it's great value.
I'll tell you what I think.
Because the Colts and the Jags, the Texans are 1 game back. They split the season. They're 4-1 against division, so they only have 1 division game left, and it's the Colts at home in Week 18.
UBN's full of it, by the way. He says he will bet his 100 on my pick. You just said you like the Giants. You're not going to go bet 100 on the Patriots. I just said I like the Patriots minus 7.5. Why would
Let it be known that while I have defended the Chicago Bears against you saying that they suck, I am not saying what Earl is saying. I'm not saying they're the real deal. I'm just saying they don't suck. I also agree with Charles. The Patriots are better than the Denver Broncos.
I got to be. They don't suck like the Saints and the Dolphins and the Texans and the Raiders suck.
Hey.
It's not that, and the Vikings suck. They don't suck like
that. The Texans should not be in that conversation.
I said this to my son yesterday, and I'm gonna say this on the air here. Go ahead, bookmark it. Whatever you want to do. Here is my bet, my stat, whatever. I'm going to tell you this today on December the 1st. Whoever the Bears play first in the playoffs, whether it's as the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, or they end up losing the division, because I think they're going to lose 4 of the next 5 games. They play the Packers twice. They play the Lions. They play the Niners on the road, and they play the Browns. I think they're going to lose at least 3 and maybe 4 of their last 5 games. So I don't think they're going to win the division. But that being said, no matter what happens the rest of the year, I am telling you right now, whoever they play with their first game in the playoffs, I'm going to bet like I bet on San Francisco yesterday against the Browns. I'm going to bet that same bet against the Bears because the Bears are favored. And I mean, right now, it looks like they're going to be favored. Whoever they play, they're going to be favored. Give me some other team, whoever the other team is.
Let me ask you this, because I wouldn't bet a cent of anyone else's money on this team the rest of the way. Let's say the Eagles blow the division lead, which is very much on the cards.
Not a prayer.
Have to go
not a
to
chance
Chicago.
In hell. There is 0.0 chance that a team not named the Philadelphia Eagles is going to win the NFC East. 0.0. Yes, he did it again. He broke out the 0.0. I don't get, and the Rams were the best team on planet Earth until yesterday. I don't want to hear it. Crap changes every week in the NFL. The Cowboys are turn back into the Cowboys.
It's not just.
I'm not even saying the Eagles are good. They don't have to be good to win that division.
No, I know. It's a tall task. I'm just saying, if by some miracle they did, would you take the Eagles over Chicago?
Absolutely, I would. One game doesn't change.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. The Eagles' remaining schedule. Okay, they might lose on next Monday night against the Chargers. Then they play at home against the Raiders, at the Commanders. Ooh, they play the Bills. That's going to be an interesting game. And then they play the Commanders. So let's say they lose 2. I think they might lose 2. What are they right now?
Lose 3.
Even if they lost 3, the Cowboys would have to win the rest of their games.
Yeah, no, I get it.
0.0.
I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying I wouldn't bet on Philly with anyone's money right now because they look. Do you remember 2 years ago when in the second half of the season they fell off a cliff and then the Bucks waxed them in the first round of the playoffs? That's what this team reminds me of.
Tom, 0.
Go bet it, Tom. I'm sure you can get a good number.
I'm going to tell you right now. Your take is the one that the books, they are loving. They are taking Dallas money out the wazoo right now.
Well, Tom's or mine?
The sports books are raking up on the Dallas Cowboys lovers right now. The people that actually think the Dallas Cowboys have a chance. I'm just saying. They're the only team
I just hate everything Eagles right now. That team looks completely.
I'm saying you got to like them.
No, I know.
I'm saying Bears completely dominated the Eagles. And yes,
they didn't.
Well, even if they did, so what? Even if they did.
On the ground, they did. But
it's a different story completely when you get in the playoffs. Ben Johnson is the truth. Ben Johnson is an overrated. I'm not saying he's good, not good, because you can be overrated and good at the same time. He is the most overrated coach from this past offseason.
Takes are flying right now in the comments.
Overrated.
Takes are flying in the comments.
Fired up. You firing me up. Comments. All right. We got to go.
The whole thing is I'm just not taking Philly. So
you just hate. You cannot like somebody. I get it. That doesn't mean you don't have to. You're not. So you're not with me. So if the Bears, you're looking forward to the Bears, they wouldn't play the Oh, there could be Bears.
No. I'm not saying I'm not with you for what it's
one.
worth. I think actually when you sent that text the other day, I think I said I agreed with you.
Caleb Williams is just
no. Caleb
good.
Williams has been good this year.
No, he's not. He's not been good. He's been average at best. At best, average at best.
He's been good. He's been good this year.
A-Town, I'm telling you right now. One of the first things I get when I get merch, and I know I keep saying it's coming. I got so many things to do first. Merch is coming. It might be a little while. Merch is coming, but I promise you, it won't be the first thing I get. But a T-shirt with the Dattitude logo and 0.0 is 100% going to be merch, and I will wear it on the show. 100%, 0.0. All right, Gabe, I will see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Some great takes this morning and afternoon. Look, again, like I said earlier, we don't necessarily have to agree about everything. In fact, if we do, that's boring as hell. I don't want us to all agree. I want the people who don't agree to come here. I will show you your take. And unless you just give it in an asinine way, like, what was that ass clown who said I'm a LSU hater and Tulane blowhard? The dumbass of the week. I mean, the dude's trying to win. You think he was trying to win dumbass of the month on the summer? I mean, come on. Don't come in here never having watched this show and never listen to me and just start spewing. This is episode number 445. Okay. Let me do some quick. I got a calculator here before we go off the air. 445. Let's just say we average, I don't know. Let's say we average 90 minutes because back before 200 or whatever, sometimes we do a 45-minute show. Let's just say in 445 show, we've averaged 90 minutes. That's probably on the low side. That's 40,050 minutes. Don't come on here and listen to me for 3 minutes and you think you know me already. You don't know jack squat. You're a moron. Just saying. What is he talking about? I don't know. I didn't get any sleep last night. I was watching too many takes on the LSU stuff. It's going to be a fun ride. I do think that. I don't think he's going to get fired. I don't think Lane Kiffin will get fired. I think he'll leave when he wants to. The Vikings cut. Vikings cut Adam Thielen. Okay, shocker. Oh, what is he, like 92 years old? I'm just saying that I think that he'll certainly bring life into this program. The life that Brian Kelly sucked out of LSU it's already back. It's already blown up like a balloon. I don't know who LSU is going to play in a bowl game. I don't care. They'll probably get their asses waxed, especially if Nussmeier doesn't want to play and doesn't come back. I hope he does. I hope Nussmeier plays the last game and says, I want to go out a winner and how it tries out. But we never even talked about the Oklahoma game that, it's kind of funny. Gabe talked about how he didn't give one rat's ass. And then he ended up caring about it. We were all caring about it at the end. I mean, so this LSU team fought its ass off and showed a lot of heart in that game. We never even talked about the game. I was impressed by the fact that they were able to stay with Oklahoma. I was impressed with Van Buren not quitting. I was impressed with, the offense doing the best they could. They just don't have the talent when most of their offensive linemen are hurt. They did the best they could. I never said this earlier, but I want to give a shout out to Frank Wilson and absolutely give a shout out to Verge Osbury. And I should have said this earlier. I meant to. I had it in the notes and I skipped over it because I was paying more attention to the comments. But I give a shout out to Osbury and Frank Wilson. Frank Wilson has kept this team together when they absolutely could have just quit. And they looked like crap against Western Kentucky, but they came out and they fought their asses off in Norman, Oklahoma against a team that's going to the playoffs. So kudos to Frank Wilson. Again, Verge Osbury is not getting any credit. Matt talks about how they were so tight-lipped and cover everything under wraps. And look, just because Lane Kiffin isn't my guy, I mean, I've made that clear. He's not my guy, but he was clearly LSU's guy. And for that, I give a tip of the cap because Verge Osbury went out and got LSU's guy. Doesn't matter if he's Jim Derry's guy or Joe Blow's guy or whoever's guy. Doesn't make a difference. You got to give credit to Verge Osbury because when they decided that's who they wanted, they went out and got him. And that's not something that a lot of schools probably could have pulled off. I mean, if you believed that he was going to go to Florida, it was almost a done deal. And LSU and jumped in and said, not so fast, my friend. And they jumped in and look, you got to give Verge Osbury credit for that. The entire LSU selection committee. However they did it. So kudos to them for that. We're going to talk more about that again Wednesday show. I hopefully will know tomorrow. If I know who my guest is going to be by tomorrow, I will, or even this afternoon, maybe we'll tweet it out. This afternoon, I'm going on a show in Tennessee with a guy named Maurice Patton. I've been on their show a few times. They are like, they're close to Nashville, I think. They talk a lot about the Titans, but they also talk about Tennessee football and SEC football. And I've been on their show maybe 3 or 4 times before. They call me when something big's going on around here. I guess they thought this was big. So I'm going on that show. I don't know the name of it there. Just search for Maurice Patton on YouTube if you want to see it. That's going to be live at 2:15. And then, as I always do, I'm going to I'll be on Eric Asher's radio show this afternoon at 4:35. Plenty to talk about. We will keep talking about it. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. That will just about do it for us. Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Find us on Facebook. Subscribe there as well. I'm putting up shorts. The shorts have been doing fantastic with our little takes. Keep on following us. I am telling you, we're going to have the coming up within the next week or so, maybe by the end of the week. We're going to have it so where if you want to leave super chats and back us up with some love from the wallet, even if it's $1 or $2 or whatever it is, we're going to have the capability to do that very soon. Give us, I don't even know what the stars are, but the opportunity to give us stars. I'm still doing the research. I haven't done it yet. And if you want to sponsor the show, we would love to hear from you, jim@jimderry.com. But that is going to do it. Also, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts on the audio version, only on Spotify and Apple. We will see everyone on Wednesday when we have maybe 2 guests. Who knows? We're going to be talking about LSU. We're going to be talking about Tulane and their game coming up on Friday. And, of course, we're going to be talking about Saints. And what do we think about Saints at Tampa Bay? Do they have any chance? What do we think? All coming up. Until then, we will see you Wednesday. So, you know what I say at the end of every show. For those of you new, if you don't know, I'm going to say it anyway. Take it easy, my friends.